Last we left off, our intrepid adventurers were working in the village of Grill, waiting for some mysterious event to occur. This event, whatever it would be, was promised to be a potentially deadly and age-defining moment. Should you not be there to avert the first moment of crisis, that is. Nearly a week of time within this village had been uneventful until this morning. A young girl unleashed a burst of darkness and a tirade in a foul tongue before falling unconscious moments later. This outburst proved to be the catalyst for a dark shift within the townsfolk. The people believed this girl to be possessed by demonic beings or to be a conduit for dark magic. Either way, fear began to spread like wildfire, and that was only emboldened by the attack against the town by an alien-looking creature of gem or glass with a heart of black ichor. In what proved to be a deadly attack, the townsfolk teetered on the edge of fight or flight, and you all stepped in and stepped up to the challenge. Charging into the fray, calling upon this creature to cease, and using your unique skills and abilities alongside the martially trained few and Grill, together you destroyed the beast. In the wake of this attack and the morning's outburst, the calls for a witch hunt to arrest and burn young Ursa Deverall were debated within the Ironhoof Tavern. The townsfolk seemed to be swayed by the fear-mongering of a survivalist named Hunter, and not convinced by the sheriff's pleas for understanding. However, here your group took a stance, and DeCrane challenged the call for murder with a rousing call for justice and due process. In the end, the fearful townsfolk were persuaded to see reason and to await a dawn with no added bloodshed. Despite convincing the townsfolk to stand down, Kalzura was taking no chances with the fate of this girl. You intercepted him on his way to abscond with Ursa into the night, and collectively were drawn to her or to him in the pursuit of justice. You all agreed to flee into the night in protection of this girl and her strange guardian. Charging into the darkness in the wilds of north of Candorne, you look back to see a grim sight. 3 Arcanoclast branded figures charging into town. How they could possibly have known what was happened here and arrived in such a short time. It's not a question you have an answer to, and you have no time to debate as we begin tonight. You charge into the night with a good lead on the potential pursuers who are now gathering in town, and quickly looking over your shoulders, you do see the light of torchlight beginning to spark back within the town as you kind of charge forward. As you travel into the wilderness here, though, you are at least half, if not more than half of you, are pretty experienced in wilderness travel, and you know well traveling at night and at a quick pace can be treacherous. Especially in unknown terrain. So all of this is going to require a care and sharp eye. But more importantly, as you begin to hurry forward along the edge of this river that leads away from town to the west, with Kalzura and Ursa charging, kind of leading the charge, I need you to answer for me the pace at which you wish to travel. Each of them will have a difference in game mechanic as well as time in which it will take to reach this dock that Kalzura is noted has noted is down this river. Very quickly, under his breath, he says, "Well, it's about 3.5 miles to the docks." And he's already breathing heavy as you're rushing. As he looks to you all just for any guidance. 3.5 miles you can make in a fast, normal, or slow pace. At fast pace, you make the quickest time, obviously, but you will leave behind a clear trail to follow, and there will be no skill challenge. It'll just be bust your ass as fast as you can. At a normal pace, you know that's the average pace. You may leave behind a trail, you may leave behind footprints, but you would have the time to actively try to obscure and take care in how you leave those steps. And at a slow pace is clearly the longest of the 3, but it would give you the chance to use stealth and to properly leave no trail, provided you roll well. So how do you proceed?
It doesn't seem like, though, that they're on our tail right away. Like they've stormed into town, but it doesn't seem like they've picked up our scent just yet.
We need to take them out.
Okay.
in the
The crane.
in this first couple of minutes as you're dashing away into the night, they had just arrived. You had set an entangle spell, which had kind of taken out their mounts, their horses, and you could hear like the whining and whinnying of the pained whinnies of these horses as they were caught up in the bramble. But that almost gives credence to the fact that like something weird is going on.
True.
So you can see like a gathering of torches, multiple, more than just the three. So it would seem that a group is amassing. They don't seem to be, you don't see them immediately headed this way, but it probably won't take long to start fanning out.
That hunter guy's like a known hunter.
Start subtly to try to make sure that there's not a trace initially and then book it, or book it to put some distance and then start being a little more cautious, because I don't think we're going to keep booking it when we have civilians with us who may or may not be able to run for 3 miles straight.
We could do the reverse, unless that's what you first said. Go slow for a bit, then run. Like try and make the trail hard to find at first and then run.
Does anyone have anything to like help hide?
I don't got any cool spells. Well, I have some cool spells.
What kind of terrain are we talking about here, Kyle? It's forested? Is it like dirt path, like soft dirt where we're leaving footsteps?
Good question.
Not forested. You are just kind of running, not immediately on the river bank, but in this kind of little bit of brushland. It's mostly tall grasses and soft earth. Every now and again, you see a couple of like cedar and pine trees dotted in some taller kind of conifers as you're rushing by. There's not a significant amount of like cover, but you know that moving fast through here, it's like leaving trails of deer. You can tell something heavy has passed through these thick grasses, and often you'll leave heavy footprints in areas that are surprisingly kind of muddy or softer if you're moving fast.
Okay, so we could start trying to be quiet and hope that the person who gets sent in our direction isn't as good at tracking. And then really start trying to put some distance between us.
I'd be okay with that.
Okay. As you all begin to then kind of slow your pace, and Cal, Zura, and Ursa look back to you guys to see what the plan is as you all begin to slow. You explain the plan, and doing kind of some quick calculation, Andromeda and Enid and Augustus, you guys who travel consistently by foot and wilderness, 3.5 miles at a slow pace where you're actively stealth can take about an hour 45, like on the full trek, where booking it, you can get there in about 45 minutes. So like there's a potential difference of an hour here in terms of the top and bottom travel pace. But if you're going to begin with the slow pace, then it will be a skill check, a group stealth or group survival check. You can choose either survival or stealth, but you collectively will make this DC that I'm not going to tell you, and collectively will be trying to get more successes than failures as a group, including the two on my team.
Do we all choose the same skill, or can we choose separate?
Everyone will be choosing the same and rolling the same skill.
Baby. I'm very good at survival. I'm decent at stealth. What is everyone else?
The same for me.
I'm
Both are plus 5.
Wow.
I'm mediocre at both.
Al, I feel like you'd be good at both. Can't call you Al
I'm good
anymore.
at both, yeah.
Nettie, I feel like you'd be good at both.
I think survival might make sense given a lot of our backgrounds, but
I'm better
Let's
at
do it.
survival than I am stealth.
Let's do it. I think Augustus would be a little alarmed. I think, Andy, you picked up on that casting this spell I think it's pretty easy to see that maybe this isn't the first time he's done something like that before. And so I think taking a moment to be like looking at his hands, he would kind of shake himself and look at Nettie for reassurance, and then starts to try and spring into action. He knows forests, he knows woods. This could make him feel safe. He could be like useful here. So he starts trying to find a path. I think it's this way. Follow me.
Cal just kind of generally says, we're just following the river. There's a dockyard, a bunch of dockyards. Just a quick dock with a couple of flatboats we could take further down the river. Like I say, it's about 3.5 miles, so I appreciate a slower pace, if I'm honest. Let's try and be stealthy. Everyone go ahead and roll survival.
First roll. Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Let's go.
Oh, it's really bad. It's really bad.
Oh.
14.
Okay.
12 plus 5, 17.
Okay.
16.
Nice. Flat 9. Roll a 3.
Oof.
Enid, what was yours again? Sorry.
14.
You guys begin. How do you begin to try and obscure your trail? How do you begin to use your skills as your wilderness training and survival abilities to try and obscure your trail and keep pace?
I think August was trying to feel confident that this would go well for him, that he could kind of shake the scariness of what's happening. He's never been chased by Arcanoclast people on torches before, so he's trying to pick out like a non-muddy path, watching their feet, but he's just bumbling into branches, breaking branches, and it's just not going as great for him. That's what I'm contributing to this.
I think just trying to find some semblance of like if there's potential animal tracks to help like confuse things. So like because we do have 2 bunny people, like is it people or is it animal tracks? Like trying to find an existing route that might muddy the water a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Collectively, you begin trying to slow your pace and trying to pick an appropriate trail, trying to obscure. But perhaps the terrain here is just not ideal. And immediately you're all noting how difficult it is to do in the darkness, especially. Does everyone here have dark vision?
Great question.
I didn't think I did, but I do.
The Crane felt so confident with that. Right away put his hands up. Where do I even find this now?
I think
Under
it's
senses?
senses on the left side of your main page.
If you can't find it, you
then
probably
I
don't
see
have
it. No, I don't see it. I don't know if Nettie and I got it.
And then, sorry, Ursa is human?
Yep. Ursa seems to be human.
So she also won't be able to see either.
She doesn't seem to have any kind of point to the ears and is clearly not stout folk in any other way, and is a human young girl. And a reminder, Cal is a dragonborn, a red scaled dragonborn.
Do they have dark vision? How does he seem like he's doing?
Realistically, any impairment to his sight is based on age.
Okay.
More so than on whether he has dark vision or not. However, the slower pace is actually working better in his favor. Unfortunately, he is still in not full heavy plate, but not light leathers either. He's got a kind of a mix of like scale armor, and it is not entirely quiet. It's a bit of like scale and splint, gives him strong protection in battle, but in trying to keep a soft foot, he's not doing so well. You also pick up very quickly, Ursa is unaccustomed to this. She's very uncoordinated, and also partially panicking, and you can catch that in her breath. It's very obvious that she's not hyperventilating, but she is breathing very heavily, and not just based on the physicality required here. After about 15-20 minutes, you guys look back and your path is still as evident as it was before. Do you continue the survival route, or do you try to just slow your pace entirely and pick carefully, or change pace?
So the concern here is like we were just planning on following the river, and we've been doing that. So now they know we're following the river, potentially if they find it. Either we can try to figure out some kind of red herring, or we fucking run. Oh, look at Cal. Is this the only place that's reasonable to go? Is there anywhere else that maybe around here if we went it out right?
I mean, we could try and find our way to a couple of homesteads and farms and make our way into cover. But I just don't like the idea of being pinned down. My thought was to get down the river and get moving. River moves fast when we can get to these docks. If we can get on one of the boats and scuttle the others.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm talking about, is there anywhere that if we try really hard might make them think we're going somewhere else? Is there anywhere else they could think that we're going, or is where we're going kind of the only obvious answer?
Beyond Grill itself, I think my instinct would think we would head north more than down the river. River doesn't take us anywhere but the end of the line here, or into darker territories at the far end. It wouldn't be the obvious choice to bring a young girl if we didn't have better options. So my thought wasn't that they're going to come this way. But like I said earlier, Hunter's he's a good tracker. If you give him a little bit of time, he'll pick up our scent quick. We're keeping good cover right now, even under a not quite full moon, but we got a little bit of light to us here. But if they get any closer, they'll hunt us down like dogs.
Okay, Kyle, how is this river slow moving or fast moving?
Where you're at here, it's got like a decent clip to it, but you can tell here it's low. Like it would only serve paddlecraft and fishing. It's certainly not flowing incredibly fast. Where the high points, where the mountains ranges sit, are north of the river, and they kind of flow down, and then it begins to pick up speed and charge pretty fast. Not too far from here, you can hear the rush of a river ahead. Not too far ahead. You guys have traveled a decent distance. It's not incredibly far away. And in the otherwise stillness, you can hear that the river is picking up pace not far ahead.
Okay. Would it be shallow enough for, in theory, us to walk in it?
You could certainly wade through sections, but it would not be for long. And in truth, it wouldn't necessarily pick up your pace. You could obscure for a time. You could cross easily enough at this point if you wanted to get on the other side.
But crossing back might be complicated.
Crossing back would be more complicated at the point you want to.
Okay.
I will also say, even at a quick kind of clip, but here the width of the river is anywhere from 300 to 500 feet. So it's not short. It's a good distance.
Okay. Do we get a view on roughly how many Arcanoclasts we're looking at?
You'd have to take a second to really stop and look back. But
I don't want to do that.
At the end of the game, it seemed you saw 2 or 3 mounted figures rushing into town. And then with the keen eyes of Augustus and DeCrane, could recognize the Arcanoclast symbols and armor, like they wear a very distinctive outfit, uniform.
We've got to take them out. We can't keep running.
That's a little bit more difficult than we think it might be.
I've never taken anyone out before.
Well, there's a first for everything.
Cal kind of looks to you and says, "Look, I admire the spirit, friend, but I'm pretty handy with a blade, and I don't fancy taking them on." especially if we got her with us.
Yeah.
One of us goes down. And he just kind of leaves it at that.
What if we started running?
Yeah, I think we might need to we got to put it some distance at this point.
If they get close. Oh no, go Andy.
I kind of looked at the crane and say, if they get up on us, I don't think there's much I can do. Give him a bit of a look. Just in case one of them gets away.
Do I see
we
this
might need to get moving.
With
Probably. She's not subtle.
dark vision? I don't know.
Oh,
No, I don't see this again.
that's fair.
If they got close again, I could try what I did before. I don't know if I can do that again, but
We just need to wound them. We don't need to finish them.
I disagree. I'd like to not finish anything, but if they get away, we could get a larger group chasing us. I'd ideally just like to get away from them entirely.
How is Ursa's panic level right now?
It has steadied ever so slightly as you're like having this discussion, and there's no immediate threat. There's nobody's immediately chasing you. You don't have the braying of dogs at the back, or the sudden torchlight of things approaching. So in this like tense moment, as your guys kind of like pause, breathing heavily, you've been traveling like quickly for 15-20 minutes. She's started to kind of settle a little bit. She's not immediately panicking.
Look, if we can get a little bit of distance, I can give us some light. I just don't want to do it if they're close.
While Andy's talking, I'll like saddle up next to Nettie and just be like, kind of shoulder her, and then quietly whisper, the last time that girl got scared, she made that monster appear. We need to keep her calm.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen again. No. We don't want that to happen. Worst case scenario, I just send out Toot Sweet as a distraction. If we have to get to that. Hopefully we don't have to, though.
I will, looking at Ray for like reassurance, I think I'll like now move over to Ursa and what's the other guy's name worth?
Kalzura.
And just kind of looking at Ray and looking at them and wanting them to be calm, I'll just be like, look, even in the darkness, sometimes there is light. And then as almost like little embers floating off her, 3 little like lights will go to Kalzur, Ursa, and Nettie, and that'll be Bless cast on them.
Good.
This is a minute, right?
Minute, you can add a D4.
Be whatever next check we make. I'll allow the application. Ursa watches with kind of a curious eye as the little ember goes towards her, and where it kind of touches. Make an Arcana check for me.
You got it. Now 1.
Great.
This is a great start of the game. Great start of the game.
So what's the plan?
Let's run.
Yeah, I think we need to move.
Okay.
I was thinking river plan 2, maybe a little subterfuge.
If we potentially,
I think we gotta run.
If we can we follow the river from not right in the muck, right on the river? Is there potential to move slightly inward so that we're in slightly less squishy territory for leaving boots and stuff?
More or less what you've been doing already.
Okay.
It's just there's still areas that still are soft earth.
Yeah, like a recent rain or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Every now and again, there's like a little stretch of water that stripped off the river, or just a random, mucky spot. Okay, so you're just taking a full run at it. There are no checks required if you're just full on sprinting, because you are clearly leaving behind a trail. The intention here is that you're putting pace between yourselves. The disadvantage is that with a lack of stealth, you make sound. You have there's shifting of movement on in the far distance. as you begin to take off at full sprint into the night, you've made a little bit of headway already, and with what would normally be a 40-45 minute like full-on run for 3.5 kilometers, you'll make it there in the next 25 minutes or so. And as you are full-on running, I would like a perception check at disadvantage all around.
Ali put in the chat that we're full on Naruto running, just so the audience knows that. Our arms are behind us, our ears are just pinned back.
Naruto
just legs pumping.
I rolled a 4 and a 1.
So perception disadvantage, you got it.
Yes, please.
Does it matter if we're proficient?
Nah.
It's not going to change anything here. This is more based on the fact that what can you pick up while sprinting?
15 for moi.
Not bad.
17 for me.
Okay.
Wow.
4 and 5, so 9.
God, the two without dark vision.
The two Harengon are able to, even in this kind of mad dash, this is kind of, this is more your pace to begin with.
We've done this a lot as kids. This is something we've done before.
It also kind of helps being able to kind of just hop for a second, and in that midair, getting a little bit of breath, you can look back before landing and continuing your rush. About 5-10 minutes into your run, and then 15-20, and as you keep kind of doing these little bounce checks, you've begun to see groups of torchlight off on the north side of the river. Some have spread south of the river. However, more alarmingly, 4 or 5 are headed directly your direction at a quick pace. You've got a good distance between you, but a concentrated effort is headed your way, whether it's because the river is an obvious potential or because of the lack of success in guarding your path and now fully sprinting with people who are on the lookout. They're on their way.
How many feet, sorry, do you think would we guesstimate?
Really difficult to tell, even with your decent perception checks. The darkness and the lack of dark vision, the only reason you're getting anything is because they have torchlight. So you're just seeing torches are making their way towards you, but the distance is hard to gauge without dark vision.
Would you say, though, it's not like they're within 30 feet? It's more like... okay, good.
No. You still
have an idea.
15-20 minutes
Okay, great.
of space. Yeah. But in
somewhere in the distance, you can see
you see them coming. That just means that they have picked up your trail.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I have an idea.
I think relaying that back. Yeah, Andy, you mentioned something.
No, if they get close to us, your little squell.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said if we send it off into distraction, can it? If say it's like really far away from you, and something happens to it, what happens to the squirrel?
It just comes back. Eventually. Usually like a day.
Okay. Are we okay with that happening?
I mean, Toot Sweet won't like it.
Yeah.
But
Let's see.
But that's not gonna happen because it's Toot Sweet.
Right. My thought is, whether it's a squirrel or whether it's something else, I can, the power of my wonderful god, I can put a pretty bright light on something. And if we send that way, and I just kind of point completely sideways to the way we're going, that's a pretty good bright thing to draw their attention in a different direction.
Ooh, I like it. Okay.
I just don't want to screw over your squirrel permanently.
That should be fine. Let's try it.
Okay.
Just to reiterate, the squirrel has a name. The squirrel has a name.
I'm sorry. I just didn't want the squirrel to hear. Don't know why I thought it could understand you. Maybe it's just because you talk to it all the time.
Toot Sweet knows all.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind for the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try it then. I will take out my staff that has my little symbol on it. Put my hand out to the squirrel. And I'm just gonna cast the light cantrip. on Tootsuite. On my little, or whatever our hand I use, the like tattoos kind of like reflect glow a little bit to a certain distance, wherever the light is.
As you harness the kind of somewhat spectral kind of light of the moon and the stars in this night sky, and bestow it upon Tootsuite, he begins to kind of glow in this kind of brilliant white light, not exactly like torchlight warmth, but in this kind of piercing starlight, and just begins to effervescently just boom with this glow. And if you deem him to run, it'll be a very obvious beacon.
I just go, my beautiful, majestic beast.
He just begins to take off into the night, and very clearly to all of you, you can see this for a long ways off. This little, every now and again, he gets lost in the grass and then whoop, pops up, and you can just see like this sudden pop of light. We'll see how that plays out as you continue to run. You're not quite there yet, and there's not a whole lot of time to stop and wait, knowing that your pursuers are en route.
Great idea.
Fantastic.
When you just because I know about Tootsuite, when you went like this, were you pretending to throw him because you think he's a flying squirrel and he just dropped to the ground?
Yes. Well, he flies. He just
yeah.
It's like that, that YouTube video of the lawnmower that's flying. It's like that.
Okay, great.
Doesn't look like it should be flying, yet it flies.
He just does the Superman pose.
Yes.
That's a squirrel. Excellent.
With the last couple of minutes, you begin to see this the river begin to pick up pace, widen, and you can begin to see some kind of cresting, not white caps in full, but you do see a little bit more action going on in the river reflected in the moonlight. You do also begin to hear a more concentrated sound of footsteps approaching, and voices. You can't make out anything, but you can definitely hear the huff and puff of heavy breath, and armor like clanging, like the metallic clang of metal, as people are on their pursuit, and they're gaining not significant ground, but some. But immediately you've made it to the docks. You can see there are 3 flat boat style crafts that are moored to a simple wooden dock. Each flat boat is about 40 to 50 feet in length, 20 or so wide. You can see a pair of long paddles kind of laid across an open space where they can be used to kind of push and guide their way through the river. There's a single kind of cargo hold within the heart of the ship that is kind of slightly built up with a little bit of protection, but for the most part, it's an open vessel. The river itself begins to flow with a decent pace, and at this point is on that 500-foot width breadth as it begins to make its way across. Cal, just as you begin to get close, just says, "All right, get on one, pick one, let's go." And he just kind of pushes Ursa ahead, and just like now he's like kind of standing still on ground, looking back, making sure the rest of you get ahead. What do you do?
Is there just the one with that cool?
There are 3
arch there. 3? Yeah, let's get on the nearest one.
Easy enough. There's no. They are moored. They're tied, but that's super easy for you to begin the process of unmooring and cutting them free. As you guys begin to clamber up, I should have everyone's passive perceptions written here.
Garbage. Ignore mine.
I know yours is bad.
16.
16 passives
Same.
from.
We're probably the best at it. Or I guess I don't know what DC what you're like.
Crane, what's your passive perception? Kev?
The Crane, are you frozen?
No,
Sorry,
he's just
sorry.
lost in thought. Passive perception?
Yes. My passive
It's decent.
is
Nice.
passive 15. It's 15.
So
I was just gonna be mad if it was better than. Really nice.
the 3 of you, as you begin to board these flatboats or this flatboat singular. You begin to rush aboard and are untying the mooring and preparing to get off. As you climb up onto the top of this kind of cargo hold section, you do see, not far behind, torchlight. These people are gaining. Still a couple of minutes. You've got time, but it's uncomfortably close. And then a shift in the sky above draws your eye, just a little, like a reflection in the moonlight or something catches, and you begin to look skyward, and each of you see more than a dozen of these delicate white moths are descending from the night sky, drawn directly to the ship, and begin to hover about 5-10 feet over the kind of center of the ship. As everyone is now piling up onto the ship. Cal is about to set foot and make the final pursuit, but the moths and more are beginning to kind of amass as you guys kind of are beginning to set sail. Cal grabs one of these long oars and just kind of holds one out and says, "I need a hand."
Yeah, I'll grab it and beg. Before we set off, can we untie or cut free the other ones?
It'll cost you time, but yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I could have Ray set fire to one of them, or at least try. I mean, it's a boat. It could be hard to set fire to.
You could just set fire to the rope.
Yeah.
That's mooring it.
Unless it's like in the water. I think that still would be a good idea. But I think Nettie and I saw the weird moths before. So I think I'm very drawn to that. So I think in this craziness and seeing those moths and knowing I'm one of the people who saw it, I think I'm going to try and get to Ursa quickly.
Okay. She's just still standing on the front of the boat, just kind of unsure of what to do. And as you kind of approach, so there's like an initial hesitation before, like, she relaxes, like recognizing you, like for a second, almost not recognizing you, and then realizing, oh no, it's you. Okay, we're good. But as you glance up, she begins to kind of look up as well. More and more of these moths are gathering. And Andy, are you going to do anything about one of the other boats?
I said I was going to help paddle, so maybe I'd nudge to Crane. He has some sharp ass blades, even if he can only cut one free in the time that we have.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Go ahead and make an athletics check for me, Leah. And to Crane, you're going to rush over and try and just cut free the other two flatboats. Okay.
Sure.
Give me 2 attack rolls with whatever bladed weapon
and
you
be
have.
specific. What bladed weapon are we seeing?
I will use my... You know what? Let's bring out the double-bladed scimitar.
Okay.
And I roll 18.
Drawing the first and just kind of sprinting over. It's all within maybe a 20-foot dock. It's not far. You sprint over, swirl, cut through
so cool.
like butter, rushing forward, like ready already. Make a second attack.
A 16.
Yeah, easily enough. With the scimitar extended, carve through the other, and they begin to drift slowly here and begin to kind of start to bump the back of your boat as you're in the front of these other two that begin to slowly kind of shift and twist. What was the athletics check from Andy?
Natural 20, baby.
Ooh.
There we go.
What a weird thing to roll a natural 20 on.
Strong as fuck at rowing.
And with 23 from Cal, easily between the two of you, like, these craft are built with a low hull to travel on these rivers, easy enough for you to guys push away, and immediately, even helped maybe with some of the pushing of the other boats that the crane has freed, you begin to drift down the river. However, just as you begin to row and roll away, the collected group of moths that is hanging above the ship just before DeCrane is able to kind of cut free the other ships, and they bump into this one. And before Andy and Cal push it away, you begin to roll down the river. Ursa and Augustus looking up to this gathering moths. You watch as they begin to clump together, wings extended, and hold their wings extended without flapping, but somehow remain afloat. And they begin to clump and conglomerate into a shape. And you begin to see a pale face beginning to take shape in the pattern, round and insect-like, with big globular eyes. The face is finally formed, and within this, a mass of moths. It blinks and looks down to the boat, zeroed in on a pair of you. You hear issued through the moths in this kind of fluttering speech, as if each moth was speaking in unison somehow. No matter how dark the shadows you hide within, my eclipse will always find your light. They disperse, and you begin to take to the river. Collectively, there's no way the pursuers can catch you. By river, you've taken the boats. On foot, it'll be a significantly longer journey. And you begin to roll down this river. En route, you're not sure, but safely for now.
After that insane moment happened, does August feel like that was directed at him or her?
Make an insight check.
And perhaps my insight is how she... I have no idea. I don't even know. Okay, yeah, let's do it. Okay, 25. I rolled a natural 19.
You have no idea. You rolled very well. You are confident that it could be you.
Yeah,
but you're equally confident it could be her. She seems equally as confused.
Okay. I think I was starting to raise my hands when it was happening. Maybe the tiniest bit of light was starting to go there, but then as it disperses, it just like winks out. And then, yeah, I'll just be drifting down this river with her.
There's a very brief moment, and yeah, she looks to you as it ends with the equal amount of concern, fear, and confusion, primarily.
You all right?
I think so. I'm not hurt.
That was weird.
Yeah. Then again, weird is second nature to me. So, no weirder than some of the other things I've seen.
Sister talks to a squirrel.
I talk to squirrels.
I should find my sister. And I'll just awkwardly rush up. Eddie!
She once the kind of ship is flowing and underway, Cal and kind of directs you, Andromeda, to go to the opposite side and just like basically almost like in Venice, like you're just kind of with these long oars, just kind of pushing off when it gets too close to a riverbank or too close to a large rock. And you're just kind of keeping a loose direction, not really paddling forward, letting the river guide the pace, but you are kind of pushing one way or the other. And between you and Cal, things begin to get underway.
I was just laughing at our little stand-in toot sweet. It looked real cute there for a bit. He was real cute.
Yeah, for listeners, there's a baby on the screen now.
Oh yeah, sorry. If you're listening to this, we had a guest appearance of a baby. It was pretty cute.
Kyle, how late is it now? Because it was pretty late before. I'm assuming mage armor's gone now, right?
What time would you have casted that?
I don't know. You told me that before. It was like, oh yeah, you're fine because you probably cast in the morning, and then we're at the end of the adventuring day, but we're like past the end of the adventuring day now.
It's not quite into midnight, but it's well past dinner. It's deep into the evening. You're coming up to 11, 12 o'clock.
Great. Okay.
So yeah, mage armor's gone for sure.
Okay.
I will say an element of traveling on the river here. There must always be someone on basically paddle duty, making sure that your boat doesn't suddenly scuttle itself against a riverbank and throw you all for a loop, or careen into jagged rocks that could damage the hull and cause you to sink. So, as a part of traveling on the river is you can continue traveling through the night with ease. So you can gain that extra ground. Part of what makes the river travel significantly faster and better than travel on foot. However, it does mean that your watch also would accompany an athletics check to pilot to steer the ship.
Not very strong, but I'm good at spotting things.
What do
I
you
have
do?
a feeling none of us are particularly strong.
This is a good party makeup. Campaign 2, interesting party makeup. Can I go to Calzoran? My dude Cal? Master Cal, was there a plan past getting on the boat?
Well, beginnings of one anyways, yeah. Yeah, look, why don't we get all together and kind of lay things out? I've said a little to her, but I didn't want to say too much, so she doesn't even quite know where we're headed.
We can meet at
We should be fine for a second.
the stern, the bow, the hull. The thing that Andy's holding on to, we can meet back there.
Whatever's the front, let's go there.
Oh, okay.
There's more space on the front.
Work my way to the front.
Easy enough for you guys to kind of come up the sides. The side, like basically around what sits up down into this cargo bay, is about a 5-foot space around the front, around the back, left and right, and there's about a 15 by 15 space on the front where you can sit and stand. There are not really railings along the side. There's maybe a 2-foot kind of low wall along the side, and then there's some handholds on the exterior of what is this about 5-foot tall kind of cargo head space for you to descend down into the belly of the ship. These are not for people. This is a cargo ship where people have to sleep under the stars on the roof or with the cargo. They're not.
It's like where you dump the fish after you catch them. You just like huck them under the cargo hold kind of thing. Yeah.
There's nothing special here. That's for sure. So you all gather at the front of whatever hull or stern or bow, whatever it is called, and at a decently straight stretch of river, though Cal and Andy are still able to kind of push off with the oars if need be. Cal looks at you all. It's getting late, so I think it's sooner than later we should all be getting down to rest, and we still have to keep ourselves safe. So if you're able, if you're willing to stay up and aid, I can take the shift for sure, and I'll take the third as well. Wake me up. I don't need a ton of sleep.
I don't need to sleep either. I can stay up.
Okay, that's great. Well, maybe you take the first watch with me here. Ursa, get to bed. She just kind of what? It's just you drag me out of my home in the middle of the night with 4 strangers out of nowhere, and you still can't boss me around. And he says, "Like hell I can. I'm getting you to safety. These people, kindly, are going to help us do that. But I need you healthy. We get wherever we're going. Before you go."
I just thought of something there. Can I get an insight check while he's talking? We're bringing her somewhere. Can I get an insight check on, is there anything else going on here? Does he actually have her best interest at heart, or is he trying to get her somewhere for like his own game?
Sure, make an insight check.
Oh, another good one. 23.
Doesn't seem to have ulterior motive. He seems to be honest. Wants
Okay.
her safety, like wants her healthy, wants her to live. You know, you gather with a decent roll there. He's not sure what the fuck is going to happen. He's
Okay.
like really piecing together a plan as he's rolling down the river.
Literally.
And as you kind of look into him, he says, "So, my thought as of now, the end of this river takes us to a place called Darkvale Harbor. It's a kind of end of the river right before you come out to the sea in the Frostvale. We've been using this river for cargo for forever. I know you can travel decently down the ways. In a couple of days, we could get there pretty easily without any huge impedance. And I know a ship captain there named Captain Daedric Verglass. Owes me a favor. He's got a ice hauler. I'm just thinking of getting her out of Dodge. That's all. Whether I go with her or not, that's up to her, honestly. And I thank y'all for stepping up when you didn't have to. I could really use the help getting her there sooner than later. In truth, I don't know what we're going to do from there. He kind of looks to her. But at least it's far enough away from people who'd want to hurt you. People on the fringe like out there, they don't give a shit. I don't care who you are or what you did. As long as you're not trying to hurt them right now, they'll look the other way. And Verglass is good people. I didn't have many other options.
Sounds like a halfway decent plan to me.
I'm open to suggestion, I'll say. If y'all have any better ideas of where we could take her, once we get there, a life out on the ice ain't exactly much living.
Not a very cold temperatured fella, but could be nice to see that there's a lot of cool birds and nature there.
The one thing I'd like to consider is there are cruel people everywhere. More than that, there are people who just want themselves to be safe as well. So we need to make sure whatever happened doesn't happen again, or you're gonna have to run again. There's one thing I can do to at least try to figure out what's going on. I can try it tonight at some point. I'd just like to get a little bit more answers. I think that would benefit everyone. If anyone else has any ideas on how to do that, I don't think it's going to hurt. But let's at least try to figure out. Let's not just send you away with nothing, with no information. It's not going to help anyone.
Ursa kind of steps forward and says, "What information are you talking about? What can we find?"
Whatever it is that happened to you, how do we know it's not going to happen again? I don't want to frighten you, and I guess I should say, is there anything you know? Is there anything you've experienced that you've not shared with us? Because anything there that can help. I'm not. I just wanted to help you figure out what the heck is going on.
She kind of swallows and looks up at Cal, and he looks down at her, and she's like about to speak. And he says, "There have been a couple of incidents in the past. Not quite to the level of what we just went through. That was the biggest and worst thus far. But there have been some moments. Look, it's been a long day. We can get into it. I'm not trying to hide. We got days of travel ahead of us anyways, and we don't got a whole lot of space to do it in. Why don't we have this conversation the light of day?"
Fine with me.
All right. Are you staying up first, and how are we doing this? Shifts?
There should be
Multiple people?
wise. A couple hours apiece. Make sure everyone gets a good rest. Like I say, I can take first and I can take third. I just need a couple hours in the middle. If Crane here, you want to help out on the first one, could certainly use two of you to take on the middle, and then someone to help me out at the end. We can get through the night.
Betty and I can take second.
Much obliged.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind.
Can I, oh, this might be dumb.
I have a DM question if you want to think about it.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
We're going like northish, right? That's like what he's describing.
It's northwest, but yeah.
And then where we came from, where we were sent, was like west southish. Yeah.
Karden is direct south from Grill. So
yeah, so it's
straight
not,
up and down, and then you're headed this way.
So that was my only other thing, but I didn't want to say in front of this guy. We were, the Immortal Man, Isaac, they sent us here. They said to look out for something. I was like, we circled back with them, but we're not going in that direction. That's what Augustus was thinking about as that guy was talking. But he's kind of recognizing, I don't think he wants to play that card, that they weren't just here by happenstance as workers. If we all shuffle away, I think Augustus is pretty keen on seeing Andy cast magic, however she did it, on this squirrel, and then her hinting at something else to come. He's like very intrigued. So he's just kind of lingering.
My question was, I could do it as a ritual, but she's not going to do that in front of everybody yet. I'll wait until my turn for watch.
Then I think he'll just flatly, I think, ask you, like, do you want company for when you do whatever that thing you said you were going to do was?
I can always use someone to watch my back, but it's kind of gotta, go talk to the god. It's a bit of a it's like a ritual. Just trying to get some answers, but it's praying really hard, and sometimes you can't have distractions. So, whenever we try, I'd appreciate someone else watching out for me, I guess. I'm not used to having that.
Sure, yeah, of course. How do you know that your god gave you magic?
That is a very long story.
It's just when I did what I did that you saw, I don't think a god helped me do that.
Oh, no, I don't think they did. There's a couple different kinds of magic, right? How much do you know about magic?
Nettie and I can do tiny things that we just learned as kids in the forest. Sometimes we can jump from one place to the other, but we're not really jumping. We kind of just pop and pop. But that's about it. And no,
Best trick?
God.
Best trick.
She always sneaks up on me. Here we go. She can do some stuff like that.
That very impressive. Yeah. Yes, that's quite a good one. I think look, what you did it was excellent. That was great. I kind of assumed you knew what you were doing there, but that's fine. There's a few different kinds of magic, right? There's divine. Magic is just manipulation of energy around you, right? So it's more about how it is you can access that. Sometimes a god will give you access, right? You pray well enough, they like you, whatever it is, you can tap into it. They allow you to tap into it in specific ways. Then there's the stuff those guys are after, point way back to where the Arcanoclast was. They don't tend to call it arcane. It's a little different. What I think I saw with you, and it's like some druid stuff, right? It's primal. You're tapping directly into the magic, the energy that's in the earth. It's from the sun. It's from anything, just like anything can turn anything else into energy. You're tapping into an energy source directly. I don't know much about how that works. I don't have a lot of experience with it myself. That kind of magic, from what I understand, is just something you can do or you can't. And maybe if you're not sure about how to get into it, you got to figure out what it is that's stopping you, not so much what it is that's allowing you.
When you say allow, I think Augustus is like, eyes will flick behind you to where like Ray is just like floating like past you. Okay. Thank you. That was quite helpful.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know a lot about it, but I've seen it before. And the people who tend to do it, it's just different. It's tapping into something old.
Okay.
And that's all on you, buddy.
Great. Yeah, I can figure it out. No problem.
Okay.
Have a good
I'm
sleep.
gonna sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, have a great sleep. Great.
Yeah. I'm gonna specifically stay up until Ursa falls asleep and watch her for like 10 minutes. Just to see if anything happens when she's asleep, because she says that she has wonky dreams about her imaginary friend all the time, and I just want to see what happens when that happens. Okay.
So who's are the Herringons? Andy and Ursa are going downstairs to bed.
I think we were taking second watch, Nettie. I was thinking we would. I don't even know if I'd go downstairs. We're probably used to sleeping under the stars, so I would, if it's not too noisy, maybe sleep at the back or something like that, wherever it's not in the way.
So basically, there's on top of the cargo hold, there's like a
Perfect.
space you can stand, and it's kind of a space that people end up sitting and lounging and sleeping.
Yeah, I would sleep there.
So
You
easily
guys
the
are
two
like
of you
little
can
enough.
roll out your little sleep sacks, and away you go.
We'll find
Dude.
space.
Toot Sweet is just all over Nettie right now. Toot Sweet is chatty. Yeah, I think we would curl up very cute, bunny. Like we've been sleeping next to each other our whole lives, so just yin and yang style. Bunny's just sleeping.
Super cute.
Yeah, it's very adorable. And the two of you do find rest rather quickly, spent by the effort and expenditure of the things you've been through today. And the initial kind of like call to adventure is surprisingly just kind of taxing. The Crane, you and Cal begin the process of keeping watch and keeping the ship on course. I'd like an athletics check from you, as well as a perception check. Both will accompany will amount for the total of this this trek.
Oh,
I rolled a 3.
That'll be your
And you said athletics?
That'll be your perception, and then athletics is next.
Okay, so perception plus 5, so it's 8 total.
Okay.
And then for athletics, I rolled a 13 plus 1, 14.
Okay. Though you are very perceptive naturally, and you keep a keen eye, and at range, you're as a marksman, like a particularly long range sight is your bag. However, with the added focus on like maintaining the ship and like kind of keeping your focus on the river itself, watching for rocks and watching for the riverbanks, your focus gets drawn inward more than you're normally used to. And yeah, you start to lose a little bit of that sight beyond. However, no, you know what? You don't notice that yet. your watch goes relatively uneventful. You and Cal are able to kind of share a little bit of kind of chat back and forth, but for the most part, the paddlers stay on either side of the cargo kind of space, so you don't actually like see each other unless there's a moment where you have to both come to the front of the ship or whatever, or make a point to just come and chat or whatever. So unless you have anything you want to say to him, then the night passes, or the shift will pass.
Well, I'll just be like, how you're not tired.
Not that I'm not tired, I'm fucking exhausted, but a trick that you learn when you're a soldier for a long time is you'll sleep when you're dead, and you move that on as long as you can. You just keep pushing, and you'd be amazed at how deep that well can pull. You can be as tired as you are the days long, but if you need to move and you got the will to it, your body will do it. It's a fascinating thing.
So back in town, has that disturbance been the first that you've dealt with, or have there been more?
Nothing like that. Like I say, I'll tell everyone the whole story in the light of day, but nothing like that. The most we ever have kind of break out like that is if bears get a little too close from the north. Every now and again, you get a pack of wolves or coyotes want to get at the horses. You get bandits on the road every now and again that you got to kind of round up a crew to go and just kind of keep them scared off. Especially when we take the horses down south to Karden. Everyone's always looking to try and pilfer them. So I've made that trek a couple of times just to keep a handy sword in case someone comes calling that shouldn't. But nothing like this.
This is the first trouble you've had with Hunter.
I wouldn't say it's the first trouble I had with Hunter, but it's the first time I ever felt need to draw a blade. He's not a bad person. I didn't think so anyways. But I certainly had to throw him out of the hoof a couple of times for being drunk and belligerent. And I don't know. I thought the town had more heart for its own. It showed me a great kindness over the years. And at a time and a place where my kind are looked at as bred for nothing but war, beasts. It was refreshing for people not to give a fuck. As long as I showed up and I did my job, and I showed I cared, they showed they cared. Something about this weirdness gets people all riled up in the worst of ways. Now, please go ahead.
Sometimes we absorb the things around us, and when they're corrupt, we don't realize it until it's a full-on virus.
Ain't wrong. Ain't wrong. A ship of fear spreads like a plague or wildfire. Ain't wrong. Now look, maybe this is a conversation for the morning, but since we're talking, how long have you been traveling with these folk? You all make a pretty eclectic bunch.
It's only been a couple of weeks.
Any particular reason for that?
And before that, I was with the wizard for a couple of weeks before that. Usually I'm on my own. For hire, taking out those that I feel deserve it.
Right. I'm glad you're on this side.
Well, I can tell you I've been on that side. And I saw things that would destroy others. But for me, it's only strengthened my resolve to get back at them.
You do come across the kind of type who has seen some shit and lived to tell tale.
I've seen too much shit.
You and me both. You and me both. Let's just hope we get to live to tell each other some of those stories another day.
I don't doubt that we will. But I feel there's going to be some serious battles ahead. And there may be sacrifices.
But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Indeed.
He returns to his post and the rest, and you make your way through the 2 or 3 hours for the first watch, really, to get you through the beginning of the evening without any cause for alarm. Jumping back a little ways into the earlier part of the night, the bunnies are asleep, and down in the cargo hold, Ursa has found her way to. There are a couple of hammocks that are already down here, strung up between spaces where you can see there are large nets that are just limp on the ground, but that would hold crates or boxes or whatever. Some chains and some section areas to almost stable livestock should they travel here as well. But Andy, you're able to either set up your bedroll or get into a hammock as well. And as you watch, Ursa kind of lays and begins to try and find sleep. How long do you sit and watch?
I think I'm going to wait until I think she's asleep. Oh, wait, you know what? No, Andy wouldn't do that. Before she goes to sleep, I would ask her permission, essentially. Hey, So I know that sometimes you said sometimes you see things when you're sleeping, right? And before whatever happened while you were asleep, or they knocked you out or something?
Oh, yeah. Cal thought it might make people feel safer if I was put to sleep for a bit of time, sedated. The priest had something I drank. It brought on some weird dreams. But I've had the dreams without the drink as well.
Okay. Would you, I have a way that I can kind of get a gauge on if there's something magical going on. Would you mind if I did that? Either just to take a look at you now or while you're asleep? It won't interfere with you at all. I'm not going in your mind like that other person was. It's literally just seeing things that other people can't.
Make a persuasion check.
You good? 19.
She looks you up and down as you're kind of talking, and you can see the initial kind of retreat. But she does catch the symbol of Koros on your staff, and her eye does kind of linger on it ever so slightly, and she says, Are you a holy woman?
That's a complicated question.
No, everything's complicated these days.
Yeah. Koros has done a lot of good for me. He has. Between you and me, though, not everything's from him. I understand where you're sitting now, and I understand how terrifying it is to be called something witch and people to be run. She stops herself. I am very much a religious person, but I don't want to lie to you. what I'm about to do is not religious.
Do it.
Okay. I'm gonna use my last spell slot of the day to cast.
Before you begin the cast, she grabs hold of your wrist for a second and looks you in the eye and just says, "Be careful."
Don't worry, I'm not going in there. Staying in myself. How worried am I by that?
Make an insight check.
I'm asleep and I feel worried about it.
12.
You're fine.
Yeah, whatever, man.
It's a little bit off-putting, the amount of concern that she showed.
Did that concern happen more after I said this isn't religious?
No.
Okay,
Just kind of
overall.
Just generally.
Okay.
She has a lot of uncertainty, as much as you do.
I will cast Detect Magic.
Okay. I'm going to look up Detect Magic specifically.
I know it's not it's not going to give me a specific answer or anything like that. I just know more before you said that I could see there was vaguely something in her room. So I'm mostly just trying to see, there was a light source, not that that's how it is, more in her room. I'm trying to see if that's coming from her. That's kind of the whole point of this.
Do you use your spell slot? Right.
I'm using my spell slot. I'm not going to do this ritually.
Instantaneous action, doesn't take the 10-minute ritual.
Yeah.
I need a Constitution saving throw from you.
Okay.
Oh boy. My music's a little too happy for this. Let's change it up.
Oh, that was good. I'm either rolling really bad or really good today. It's wild swings.
Same.
Con save. 21.
Nice.
This was a challenge, and we'll see why. The second you cast Detect Magic, which you've only done a handful of times, almost 50% of them having happened today, the light and the aura of magical creation and kind of any of these magical elements that you've seen in previous and earlier today, even the little glint around Enid's belly button ring, it's faint. It's like a very faint haze that you can color coded and kind of gets an innate understanding of the school.
Imagine it like a Aurora Borealis kind of light, just
Exactly.
on top of whatever it is.
The ferocity at which her entire beam blinds you is intense, to the point where you almost go blind and are able to shield yourself with willpower and mentally, and using a little bit of your own arcane essence, and hope maybe even a little bit of divine element here to see through the elements and not scar your retinas in such close proximity to staring deeply into the sun. She is a conduit of power beyond anything that you've ever witnessed. No school, and every school. No single source. An aurora borealis of every light source and color beyond the spectrum that you can properly see. With this third eye of magic, you can detect there are almost echoes and multiple layers in a fourth and fifth dimension around this girl that exists beyond normal comprehension. It is stunning, and even with your save, actually almost as a result of your save, you cut Detect Magic after 3 seconds, despite the 10-minute potential. And in the rocketing kind of afterburn, the whining in your ears of that kind of ringing sensation of like a massive, attack, where you begin to kind of blink back, you feel your kind of stomach drop and your whole world shift, and you stand on the bridge of Feather Rock. This liminal space between here and there, life and death, and then and now. In the middle of the bridge, you see a light. You walk to it and stand over it and reach down and pick up your spherical astrolabe. And within it, it's a glow from within in this prismatic hue. And as you pick it up, you turn it over in your hand, you can see on the back it's cracked, a significant crack. And as you kind of turn it, you notice more and more cracks and fissures begin to split and break the metal in your hands. And suddenly you feel cold. And you pull your hand away and watch sand begin to pour out of the astrolabe onto the ground. More and more and more, the sand flows faster and faster. You try to hold it back, stem the flow, but it is a tide that cannot be tamed. The sand piles so fast, the bridge beneath you lets out a deafening crack as it splinters and breaks beneath your feet, and you plummet into darkness below. Your vision whip pans from the plummet to a house standing off-kilter in a field of silvery mist. The home burns with black flames that curl in long, languid licks. Hungry flame. Again, your vision whip pans and you hurtle alongside an arrow as it burns through the skies like a comet, flying impossibly fast. Innately, you sense its purpose is grim. Rainbow strands of thread run like rivers across earth and stone. Your vision follows the flow to the edge of a massive chasm of darkness. They all spill into it. You look down into the void and you feel yourself pulled within. Suddenly, you stand in the heart of a battlefield. The clash of steel and screams of war are drowned out by the dull tone ringing in your ears as you look skyward to watch the starlight of the night sky growing dark. But the clouds are not what's darkening the sky. The stars themselves are vanishing, winking out faster and faster as candles to the wind. Darkness encompasses the sky before you suddenly feel it lift you from the earth, weightless. The soldiers, the battlefield, fly up into the sky. And as you look down, scrambling, trying to reach to grab hold of anything, you see Ursa. Where you tumble up into the darkness, adrift with no hope, no path to follow home. In your hands, as you tumble, suddenly you look down to feel the astrolabe corrode and crumble, leaving no trace. Before you are rocketing back on your feet in the hull of a flatboat. Ursa rocking in the hammock in front of you. Are you okay? What was that?
That. Yeah, that's, not abnormal. She just needs to take a second. How long did that take?
Said something, and now we're here.
Okay, that's good, I think. I don't want to alarm you, but I also don't want to lie to you. There's nothing big here.
Is that a good big or a bad big?
I'm not sure yet.
All right.
Whatever's going on with you might be connected to something that I have been thinking about for a long time, or trying to figure out for a long time. Can't give you any more information because I don't have any. Or this could all just be a coincidence, but all I'm saying is I don't think You're not bad. I know there's a lot of people and a lot of things that are really scared of you. Whatever it is that's going on with you, it's bright. There's potential. It's not an overt darkness like everyone might think it is. It's power, it's a source of something big. I can't say any more right now because, to be honest, my eyes still hurt. I'm still kind of seeing stars everywhere. I'm going to try to help you figure out what this is.
She looks like out to the open door, like there's no door on this. It's just a straight walk down into it, and you can't see anybody out there. It's just darkness. But she looks out there almost for like comfort before looking back to you quietly. There is darkness in me. I know it. I feel it. It's this darkness that wants out. And I can't contain it. It does things. If you say it's light in there, somewhere, hidden, wherever that light casts a shadow is something else.
Okay. Is anything either you've not shared with Cal, or anything he might not want shared with us?
I'll tell you everything. I'll tell everyone.
Okay, good.
There's no reason to hide it. You've shown you don't want to take me into the Arcanoclast. And
Oh, hell. Don't worry, none of us here are going to worry about that.
Yeah, I'll tell you. We'll tell you. But in truth, we don't know much either.
Okay. We can figure it out together. For now, get some sleep. Remember, you're safe with us right now, right? There's no reason to get anxious. There's no reason to, there's a little reason to get anxious, but there's no reason, there's nothing present. And if there is anything presently that comes through, we are going to handle it. Don't feel like you or whatever the darkness is in there needs to. Okay?
All right.
All right.
Settles down into the hammock. Tries to roll over. Tries to fall asleep.
After she falls asleep, I am going to very quickly check the tattoo to see if there's anything different about it.
It is a glow. And you see 3 new points.
Okay. Cover up pretty good. And try to go to sleep.
Make I guess it's not really a check involved. They're flared points. They are coming off of one path and then pivoting in 3 different directions. It's the first time it's not been a direct link one way or another. And it's the first time it doesn't resemble something that you know. This is different.
Okay. I will go to sleep.
Easy enough. Without the need to roll through the rest of the evening's watches and checks, the day comes quietly, and you awaken slightly cold to those of you, actually all of you. There's no insulation inside. It's cold there too. And the sky above is a little darker than the day previous as you all begin to awaken. Chill, especially to the morning outside. Cooler breeze flows over the flatboat. and a storm brews on the horizon to the west. Drop in temperature and gray skies are seasonal, though foreboding nonetheless. You all begin to wake up. What do you do?
Should we take a long? Should we take a long rest? By the way, yeah.
Long rest is achieved. Enid and Augustus, you're able to swap spells if you want to, as a result of your classes.
I don't even know how to use spells. I'm not swapping
That's
anyone.
so cool.
Every long rest, you guys can exchange your known spells.
Not until I figure out how to use them.
No, that's not what I meant. Ooh, what should I take? I don't know what we're going to be doing today.
God, that little vision you just described was fucking insane. It was crazy. Oh, God.
It's going to be a good time.
Jesus.
I don't have enough spells to swap out to anything else. I'm just leaving them. Everything I haven't prepared, I can get to as a ritual if I need it.
Who needs spells?
Right.
Me. I don't function without them.
I think Augustus will wake up pretty slow. Maybe try and creep out without waking up Nettie. Walk over to like the edge of the boat with Ray and just like take in the morning, despite how like crazy it was, just enjoying like the at least the quiet and peace of the water. And he'll just like look around and he'll take out a tiny book in his breast pocket and a tiny little quill, and he'll start scribbling something in it as he's looking out over the water.
Is there anything else the rest of you want to accomplish before all coming together? There are no cooking implements aboard, so anything you would be eating is based on whatever rations you had in your packs. Anything you had prepared. If there's nothing else, pretty early in everyone waking up, Cal brings everyone to the same point at the front of this flat boat. All right, we'll put some distance behind us. I don't feel that they're right on our backs. We got some space. We got some time. I told you what my plan was. Dark veil, fur glass, off into the ice, at least for a bit of time, and then we'll reassess. Now, I don't expect y'all to hang around the whole time. That would be a very insane commitment, if I'm entirely honest with you. But with getting us there, that would be appreciated. If y'all have any questions you want to answer, or if you want us just to get into what you asked for last night, we can.
I think we can start there.
Ever since Ursa was born, I've been in the town. I've been there for a long time. And ever since she was born, there was something odd that would happen periodically. Mother would complain of people watching the house, strange voices. Somehow, her father would feel this emotion spike unnaturally, fly into fits of rage over nothing. He was an otherwise calm man. They both felt an odd presence. There was never a real way to explain it. And then there was an incident in the town. So I'll speak for you if you don't want to tell a story. Please feel free to jump in if you need to. But there have been a lot of weird talk around her as she grew up. weird things would kind of happen around her. Critters would get real hairy around her or weirdly attracted and kind of crowd around her. Elements that were unnatural. One of these boys in town, there were many of them who tease and call her names. There was one who was real vindictive about it. One day she had enough. She yelled at him, caused a bit of a stir. She's otherwise pretty quiet for the most part. Nothing happened. Just a moment. People recognized that she kind of went off more than her normal quiet. Then he went on. The next morning, he was found drowned in the river. There was no reason to believe it was her. People pointed blame. People pointed the finger. They thought that she called upon whatever strangeness was within to bring it about. We had a similar altercation as we did last night. People calling for punishments, judgments, bringing the priest in and all these things. And we did, in fact, have, wasn't the same priest, a different priest, but nonetheless, didn't matter. Had him come in and bless the house and expunge any fucking evil, whatever. Obviously, nothing came of it. But it appeased the town enough. But I've been protective of the girl for some time. I don't like bullies. I don't like people who are perceived strange being picked on and persecuted. So we've been a little friendly. And she just kind of jumps in and says, I didn't want him dead. But I did wish for something to happen to him. I didn't intend for it to go that way. But that night, after I yelled at him, I had one of the dreams. No, nothing concrete, nothing strong enough image, but it felt dark, evil. And I woke up and I could have swore I heard him screaming. I told Cal. I told my mom. Dad had already left at that point, but Cal puts a hand on her shoulder, says, no one but the three of us knew, but still people believed. And it certainly, not long after her mother took her life. Ursa again says, like, I can hear things that aren't being said. I can want to be somewhere and suddenly I'm there. I can imagine something and have it happen. I can't do any of it intentionally. But there's a lot I can do for good, but there is this other element, a darkness that seems to hunger and whisper all the time. Anytime I feel angry or a pang of any kind of bad emotion, it kind of rises up. I've woken up to people openly weeping at my bedside, fearful of things I've said in my sleep. I've said things in my mind and watched people react. I know whatever darkness is in me snapped something in my mum. I just don't know why. And I don't know how to stop it. So you see, it's not her fault. Everyone's got a little darkness in them. Hers just happens to have a lot of power behind it. So we get to Darkvale. We get her out away from people. Maybe she can learn how to control it. Maybe she can learn something. Maybe while we're out there, I don't know. We need help. We need someone smarter than me. Someone who knows what's going on, but isn't going to hurt her. I know this isn't exactly the place to do that, but it's safe for now. That's all I can do. That's about the long and short of it. Cards on the table.
Have I heard anything about or like what do I know about Darkvale's location?
Make a history check.
Oh, I haven't rolled my thingies yet.
Oh yeah.
Do that.
That's right.
This isn't actually very good. 10.
10? Yeah.
Bad roll for me.
It's not a particularly super well known place. You would have a 10 is the total. Yeah. Yeah. You'd have a loose idea that if it goes to to the sea, it's going to lead up into the west, it's going to be right on the kind of bay on the southeastern tip of the Frostfell and the ice fields, but it's just a loose plot, but you don't know anything about the actual Darkvale Harbor itself, whatever it is.
What's their GDP? Do we know that?
Surprisingly lucrative.
For a small ice town, they print money. I think August would be looking at her for a lot of that, and he would just kind of say, "Is this what you want, to go to this place? Sounds like a lot of your life has been led by fear and other people making decisions for you."
I trust Cal. I'd like answers if I can have them. But I also like the idea of getting away from people so that I don't hurt anyone. Maybe trying to figure out what this is a little on my own. I had a little bit of control yesterday. I chose to fight back when he was in my mind, the Bond Mage. I chose to do something, and it happened. I didn't know it was going to happen like that, and I didn't mean for it to go so dark. But I did that intentionally. It's not something that happened without my say. Maybe not how I hoped it would end up. But I feel like I have some grasp of it. I'd like to learn more. If I had the means at the time of knowledge, I wouldn't be hurting anybody. But I would like to be rid of whatever this darkness is, even if it takes the rest. It's taken enough from me already.
I'm gonna pull the little vial or bottle or whatever I had out that had the little piece of thingy in it. Is it still in there?
Yeah. Yeah, the goo vial.
I'll kind of show it to the group. Has anything else that's happened had this?
Cal kind of looks it up and down and says, that was the first time I ever saw that.
It's from the monster from the other day.
Yeah, I poked it around with a sword. Ursa looks up and down and says, that was from inside the bond mage? Or from...
No, the big crystal
beast
gemish thingy caused a lot of havoc.
I didn't mean to make that if I did.
Okay. That's all right. Does anyone else have any other questions? Or I haven't seen anything like this before. Not this. I mean this. Everything going on. Look at the rest of my fellows.
Can I just do a perception check, or just to gauge the honesty?
It'd be an insight, but yeah.
Yeah, insight check.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
I don't know what's going on with my lights. They just won't stay still.
10 roll.
Okay.
And insight is +3.
Now I'm blinded. 13 is enough to gauge that, like, they're not really hiding anything that they didn't already intend to give you. Like, they're not holding any particular elements back. There's a lot that they don't know, in fairness, and they're being pretty honest about that. I guess with a 13, you're gathering that there's equal parts fear in Ursa of, like, having this ability and having this element within her, but also, like, there is a definite, like, excitement at, like, the potential, the power, like what she could do. There's certainly, like, a side of her that's wants to do it and wants to see how that works, and with that, like, level, there's a definite concern on Cal's face of the same. Not a full, like, fear, but concern.
Okay.
Cal just kind of looks at you all and says, like I say, there's all cards on the table. What do y'all think?
Maybe we can learn to not fear curses. Maybe we can find the light in them, see them as miracles. I'd be fine to keep going, to make sure you get where you need to go, to find that light in yourself. Nettie, I go where you go.
Well, that's convenient because I go where you go.
We're in.
I appreciate whatever y'all can offer, but it's a big ask, and I realize that. Y'all have shown you've got some skills, and I don't care nor judge, obviously. I mean, with your lot through and through. But is there any Do y'all know how we can learn what to do? This is not my area, you know. I'm really pulling at whatever threads to try and piece together a path. But none of it really comes with answers unless it's by some miracle.
Nettie and I, we might know someone. Someone back in Candorne.
Karden.
I pronounce it Candorne. I will look at Nettie and be like, yeah, we do. And I'll try and in twin bunny ear language tell her to just be cool. If we were able to hide out somewhere, we could send word, see if they knew what we should do next.
That'd be great. Just as long as you're not being too specific as to intercept a message that could bring the wrong people down on us.
We're rather good at being inconspicuous, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if y'all can help us get some answers, I got nothing to offer you in truth, but I would greatly appreciate it. And Ursa here would, hopefully be able to live a life. Otherwise, it's going to be taken from her.
The Crane and Andy. I know we haven't traveled too long together, but what do you think? Are you going to stay?
I'm curious to what DeGreen's face is saying.
Curses are just covers for cowards and deception. I think there's more to this that we need to find out.
Every fucking thing out of your mouth is a banger.
Can't tell if he just insulted us or wants to dig deeper into the mystery.
Sorry, go ahead.
Good.
I was just going to ask if I've heard of anything, or if, oh my gosh, why can't I remember her name?
Ursa.
Nope. Name
Andy.
you don't know.
Andromeda.
Nope. Why can't I remember her goddamn name?
Which person are you trying to pull?
Seraphina.
Like my teacher.
Risa.
Risa, fuck me.
Risa had an A at the end. So
it does have an A. Everything has an A in it. If like Risa's mentioned anything about like places that are not Arcanoclast connected that know about magic, or
that could be another history or Arcana check I'd allow.
I'll allow it.
I think they're the same score. Nope, I lied. History's better.
Right.
I'm getting so untamed just by watching Levi and pretending he's Titsweet.
17.
So arcane learning, or just learning beyond anything that is restricted by the Arcanoclast. It's a tricky subject. In history, there would have been the Order of Scribes, and also known as the Order of Keepers. They are, or they were, the preeminent scholars of a bygone age, but their texts and their chronicles are lauded kind of collector pieces of ancient information and history, and also arcana. And even though much of the practice of magic is actually all the practice of magic is outlawed in Candorne, with the exception of those who are restricted and registered as bond mages. The collection of like the arcane text as kind of like a taboo piece is like heavily traded in like aristocratic circles. There would be private collections. There would be libraries that would have like a allotted kind of selection of these kind of arcane texts that would be under lock and key, but it would be a well-known fact. And then you would also know beyond Candorne, where magic is not as restricted, there are colleges and schools and whole places of learning devoted to magic and arcane and all these other schools of things. Candorne specifically has a dark history with it. Sindar's not so hot on it, but it's less restricted in other areas.
I'm
Andy?
entirely sure what it is we should do in the end. But I would like to try to figure out what's going on. We're not going to leave you here. I can try one thing to get us a little bit more answers, although the more and more we talk, I'm not sure how much it's actually going to give us. I'm just going to take a better look at this thing, that's all. Try to see if I can learn anything about it, and then if it came from you, maybe that could give us a step in the right direction. But yeah, we're not going to leave you here.
Mal's already said it, but thank you for not picking up a pitchfork.
I did so much pitchfork and shovels and axes and trowels, and just if I don't see one for a couple months, I'd be quite pleased.
What is it with winch-hardened people and pitchforks? Like, I understand that it's like a farming community and everyone has them, but I feel like there's much better implements for hurting and chasing people. Like a hoe can do a hell of a lot more damage than a pitchfork. Can you stab at a vet? Never mind. I'm gonna go.
We're just gonna let a hoe comment. We're gonna let a hoe comment pass that quick.
I'm gonna find somewhere quiet, I guess, under the boat again, and go pray on this. Just take a little prayer for like approximately 11 minutes, and then we'll see if we got any answers. The answer could be nothing, but I mean, we got a few days here.
The gods will not give you the answers you need.
God, you're not a religious man, Decree.
I don't believe in fairy tales.
You're in one.
Yes. That's where I went.
That's a Black Pearl reference. That's my name.
God, what a great movie.
Great movie.
Classic.
August did not say that in Captain Barbossa's voice.
The day is going to progress. We'll wrap this element up, and we'll see if there's any other things that you guys want to accomplish in this day before we kind of start jumping ahead. On the river, there's not a whole lot going on, so we can do a couple of days as the river boat floats down the river until we get to a point of interest. So we'll start with Andy's little bit here, but then we're going to jump ahead to a couple of days in a row and just see, is there any, and let me know if there's anything you want to accomplish, any conversations you want to have before we jump ahead a couple of days here. But we'll start with Andy.
I'm just going to ritually cast Identify.
Sure. It's not a magical item. Identify doesn't provide anything to this stuff. It's not an item, but I'll give you an Arcana check to go along with it. So go ahead and roll an Arcana check.
Sure.
Oozify is how you pronounce what I put in the chat. You're casting Oozify.
16.
It's less an object and less a magical thing, and more akin to like a byproduct of like a creature. Like it's which could have a magical quality if treated in the same way that you would King's Foil doesn't have innate magical quality, but you mix it with a couple other things and suddenly you can get a magical healing potion. That's kind of more how you gather this, is like it's like an element that you don't understand. It's very weird, but it's not innately magical, and therefore it has no ability here for Identify.
Still like moving.
Little
Or is
bit.
it inert?
No,
Great.
it's just very like if it was more active when you first saw it, but in the 11 minutes you have to sit and watch it, you see just like little and like pulling, trying to just shift a little, just ever so slightly over the 11 minutes. You get that much,
Okay.
but still unsettling.
Mhm.
Is there anything more you do, or do anyone else wants to jump in over what will become a couple of days?
I don't think I have
August?
anything else.
August would talk to Ray a bit. A very one-sided conversation, but he would be like, almost like sheepishly, he would go to this little sprite-looking thing and ask her if she could go find food for them, like she would do when Nettie and him were kids in the forest. And then I'm pretty much just gonna cast out of this good berry, but she's just gonna, however she surreptitiously gets this, she's just gonna plop down tiny little berries.
Yeah. Easily enough that, yeah, you are able to cast a spell, but through it, Ray manages to find a various selection of berries, and by proximity to her and her light, they are normal berries that become a little bit more fulfilling, a little bit more magical as they are brought to you, and indeed, good berry is cast. You're able to sustain yourselves and whoever else with these berries.
I would spread them out. I wouldn't hoard them. That'd be pretty funny,
how
though.
long are they good for again? Is it a 24
hours.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
up
is
to
it
10
something
berries.
you want to do like each day?
Yeah, I'm thinking in the morning I would probably just have to be like, hey, Ray, do you mind going out and finding us some food?
Yeah, because that will be something that, like, obviously we're about to jump a bunch of days ahead. So if it comes up, it'll be known that you did it on this next day. Is there anything else from the two of you below? Any conversations or anything you want to do while you're going forward here, or can we jump ahead? What are you doing?
We can jump ahead.
I'm just chilling, hanging out with Nettie, scribbling my book. Talk to Ray.
From this morning on the second kind of day of travel, and really the first full day of travel, but you did travel through the entire night as you can on the river here, and you're already doing watches and piloting. We were going to jump to the 5th day of travel, and over those 5 days I will ask each of you to make a flat athletics check.
Oh my.
As you each kind of end up taking turn of piloting, steering the boat. On a failure, on a DC you don't know, the boat will suffer damage as you are poorly piloting it and hitting rocks and things. And if it suffers too much damage, it may be scuttled or require significant repairs. So we shall see how this unstrong party does. Go ahead. Anyone can call it athletic checks.
10.
Failure.
Oh, fuck. I'm used to you being strong. 15. No, 13.
Okay.
14.
Okay.
Come on, DC.
I rolled a 13 plus 1, 14.
Not too shabby. The ship sustained the flat boat. Oh, Jesus. It's a good thing that wasn't a damage roll. That was 3 max rolls.
Oh, God.
And then a half. The boat does sustain a significant amount of damage over the couple of days of your inexperience. It does suffer 23 points of damage.
Oh, God. Poor boat.
Can I fix it?
Hang on one second. I'm trying to find where I have the flat boats.
Poor
stuff.
little boat.
23 points. After about the 3rd day, a pretty significant leak would have sprung as a result of this damage. So it is going to start leaking, and it would be on the bottom of the hull. It would have begun to accumulate water, and unless repaired, it's going to eventually become a pretty big weight and slowdown.
I will fix it
Okay. How do you do that?
How?
with a mending cantrip. It takes a minute to do a foot by a foot. I'll just do that a really long time.
Are you in the water? Are you underneath the boat?
I think I'll start with the interior, because if it's cracked somewhere, at least keep patching that.
Basically, the choice will be that, yeah, you can keep patching it, but you will consistently have to keep coming back to, like, patching it unless you, like, get out and spend, like, an hour kind of under, like, going up and under the boat, like, casting to mend the bottom. I will also say this is a very obvious overt level of magic.
Yeah, I know. I think if it's interior, then I can just say I'm going to patch it and then come back up. The exterior is where it gets complicated.
Let me look at my spells. Man, that would not work. I was like looking at create or destroy water. I was like, I could just destroy the water in the boat, but then I think it would just flood back in.
It would just come back.
Just come back.
Could you like grow vines around it to make a patch or something, or is that more?
Oh, I have mending too. No, it's a cantrip. I don't have it. No, I don't have that.
You can accomplish this, Andy. Like, that's something you can do. It was more a point to your how overt are you using your magic?
Not very.
Then
not that kind.
It would be it would be doable.
Alternatively, I could pitch. It would slow us down significantly. Trying to pull well, I guess this boat is fucking huge. You can't just like pull it out of the water.
No.
Scuttle it for a bit.
Never mind.
You'd need like
beach it somewhere.
You'd need a proper setup and people way stronger than you guys.
Yeah, I look stronger than I am.
You look pretty strong. You're real tall.
I'm tall and I'm big, and she looks strong. I don't have a negative strength score.
It's not that you're not strong. It's just statistically based on D&D, not strong.
Yeah.
There you go.
But still, I mean, it would be superhuman to lift this boat.
No, for sure. Alana Brawlwyn could do it. But
yeah,
Alana Brawlwyn.
Alana would bench press this boat, for a warm up.
Well, Hondo's shadowboxing.
I think I'd just keep fucking, as much as it'd be tedious, keep running downstairs to patch it.
Okay, this is what you're going to spend the next like 3 days doing. Like, this will be the bulk of your time to like constantly have to go down. It only takes a minute, but a minute repairs like 1 hit point of like a construct's like, whatever. So like if you're considering it that level, like you have to keep patching 2 or 3 sections at a time, you will do so, but it does eventually kind of break back. You have to keep kind of going down and doing it. So it's this is, pardon me, not the wrong choice. It will just become tedious for you as Andy, and maybe people will start to doubt how good you are at repairing things because it's just constantly having to keep going down to fix it again and again and again. But if you don't care about that, then away you go.
I don't really care about that.
The only thing I will say is, especially after the first day, the fact that you keep going down, Ursa does start to want to tag along and see what you're doing.
I'd say I'd make excuses for the first few times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she wouldn't really push until the second or third day, where this is now a consistent thing, and she's like, okay, I need to see what you're doing, and wants to like, and even honestly, she'll ask, but she's gonna come and look.
Yeah, I think I'd like push her off until Andy's passive perception is trash. I'd imagine at some point she just kind of ends up seeing, like, no, this is, I don't need my spell book. Andy just takes out, which you probably see all the time anyway, her like fiddle or her fidget is like she has needle and thread all the time. So she's just like consistently, if she needs something to do with her hands, she's just like embroidering corners of things with like cute little stars and flowers and like whatever. That's just what she does in spare time when she's talking, especially when she's thinking. So she has a long needle that she uses for all that. And so she just pull that out and go up to whatever needs to be and lets go of it, and it floats. And still directing it with her fingers, there's like a almost invisible, just like little string of, like, I don't know, it looks like almost how you'd imagine like a magical tether when they have anything. Just like almost like a little invisible string, a little sparkly, and it just like it's sewing shut before it comes back in her hand. She puts it away.
So cool.
So eventually she'd see that.
Yeah, Ursa will just continually keep coming to look because she's not doing anything else and wants to see magic. She doesn't pry or push you to answer anything, and she honestly doesn't even ask too many questions if you are not open about it. But she is incredibly curious and just watches. And is just happy to sit and watch if you ultimately end up letting her.
I think the first few times Andy's going to ignore her and pretend she's not there, and eventually just be like, all right, fine, come sit down.
She
and I'm not going to like
sitting across from you and just like, and then just starts like mimicking the same moves you're doing. Not doing anything, but like parroting essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a little bonding moment between the two of you.
I got nothing. I looked at every spell. I don't got fixed boat. I didn't take that spell.
This will accomplish it. It's just a little bit more tedious than it otherwise could have been.
My only thought would be destroying something else on the boat to try and make wood to put down there. But like, we don't have nails. I don't have equipment to do that. I don't know.
It's like if there was other material, I could use it. But the problem is we'd have to get under the water on the outside, and we don't have Honda the Blue who can breathe water. So like, I'm fixing the inside, but the outside's just continuously making it crack again.
Gotcha.
I can breathe underwater.
You could get under there.
Pardon me?
Don't breathe.
What do you mean?
What the fuck?
Well, are you willing to do something like that in front of your... I was going to say friends, we're not friends. We don't know each other.
Before you even commit to that, any of you have carpenter's tools? Otherwise, y'all got nothing to do this with.
Do you mean a lute? Because I have a lute.
Could it be some comedy?
You have what?
A lyre.
Oh, great. So we got a lyre and a lute.
I have navigator's tools.
Well, that's almost Andy, but...
Unfortunately, unless you have carpenter's tools or other tools that I would allow you to kind of fuck about with, that's what you would need on the exterior. Magic would accomplish it without the need for tools, obviously. Like that's a way to supersede that. But without the tools, you wouldn't need to worry. So we can move past with just Andy being a tedious fixer.
Tediously trying to fix this thing.
Magically sewing this thing shut 5 times a day.
It works. And this ship does not sink as a result.
What's all the matters?
Can I make a roll to try and spy on it once?
Yeah, sure. Make a perception check. Andy, you are welcome to make deception or stealth. Like deception would be obscuring the source, like how you're going about doing it. Stealth would be like actively like covering it up.
I mean, I think eventually I don't know how much I'm actively covering. Like she's Ursa's sitting right there. I think she's still trying to potentially hide the source, but she'd get lazier as I just rolled a natural 20. She'd get lazier as time went on.
I rolled a nat 1. So I think Ray and I try and peek down, and then she nudges me, and then we tumble down the stairs, and then we very awkwardly are like, sorry, I slipped. And then I just run back up the stairs.
Start over.
Unfortunately, yeah. An unsuccessful spy mission.
It super just looks like I'm praying really, really hard.
Yeah, and he doesn't know magic. He doesn't fucking know what's happening. So he's just like, okay, whatever. We're not sinking.
So I want to get through one last little bit here before we wrap for the evening. And on the beginning of this 5th day, I want 2 rolls from you guys. Okay. I need a D20 and a D12. I don't care who does what.
D20 and a D12.
Allie, you can leave out to roll something.
Yeah! Come on, sweet boy. Don't swallow this D12.
Levi, do you want to roll a dice?
Yeah, Ma.
Sorry, did you say D12?
Why don't you roll a Which one does Levi want to do? D12 or D20?
I've got the D20. Do you want to
Okay.
roll that?
Okay, Kev, you
You're
roll
ready?
D12.
Can you
Yeah.
roll this? Pick it up, and now drop it. Like roll it. Can you drop it?
Yeah.
Roll it. Throw it. Here, throw it. Throw it.
It's mine now. Don't need
This
it.
is my
1, 2,
this
3,
is
go.
My math
Don't
rock.
need it.
You can
Have
do it,
a-
Levi.
Have a second math rock,
Oh.
and then maybe one will get dropped for the other.
Don't
Can
eat
I-
it.
Can I swallow this?
You need one of these. This is Nate's D20. It's a monster.
It's a-
Ooh, that's
yeah.
a nice one. Can you roll it? Drop it.
It
Give
feels
to
too
Mama.
nice to roll, probably.
What if I make him? What if we make him clap? Levi,
Can you clap?
clap, 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 clap.
Yay!
He did do it, but he's still got a death grip.
Clap, 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 clap.
Okay, let's
Oh,
Clap.
throw
Throw
it. Drop it. Drop it.
Yeah.
Like
Clap,
what?
clap, 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 clap,
Oh.
clap.
no. What?
Yeah, yeah.
Ah.
You can do it. You can do it. Got a good grip.
Go.
Whee! That's a 17.
That's
Great.
pretty good.
Great
Good first
job,
roll, Levi.
Good job.
He's like, what?
He's like, why don't I have the thing in my hand anymore?
Your first roll in our campaign, Levi. Great job.
Aw.
Perfect. And Kev, what was his D12?
9.
A 9,
Nice.
you
I like
say.
9.
Okay. So, the morning starts off a little cooler than normal, and as you have hit this 5th day, you've reached a little bit further west and further north. A light snowfall begins to gently dust the surrounding area around you, and as you've sailed west, the skies have grown dark from storm and clear again, but now there is kind of a perpetual gray to it, and the snowfall is adding to that gray. Additionally, further west and slightly north, the landscape has become a little bit more marsh-like. The river now winds through tighter channels and mounds of moss and lichen that coat the earth. Stone and foliage break up the consistent flow of the river. You're forced into these tighter channels, and now the athletic checks to push and maneuver are growing harder. The peatlands on either shore are also now dusted with snow. And about 9 in the morning, as the river comes around a bend, you see it split ahead into 2 channels. Both continue westward, seemingly, but in this region, there's this little inlet, and the river seems to veer slightly north and slightly south, right and left. This kind of spear-like point of land between them bisects the path forward. Which path do you take?
And our guide doesn't have any idea what's a better idea.
As you guys kind of are floating forward and posit this as, well, fuck. No one ever said there was a choice here. I thought it was just a river that went all the way. I assume they both take us where we need to go. Some way. I don't know. Anyone here traveled this way before?
This is the
Can I roll? Like, sort of like, can I notice anything that might like lean one way or the other?
You could get off and investigate, but your history here is non-existent in this area, so you really have no clue, like survival or history, how to go forward. If you want to get off and investigate either shore or this like kind of spear inlet to see if there's any signs to like figure out anything, you're free to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
All right, investigation check from you then.
All right.
Does your navigator's tools include what's it called?
Spyglass?
Yeah, that my goddamn Batman character last time Did not get until the end of the campaign. I highly
You used
recommend you
it.
get one sooner than later.
You used it once.
Okay, I rolled an 11, and my
Okay.
investigation is +0.
If anyone's going with Decrane, you could get advantage on that investigation as well. I should have said. You don't have to go alone. If anyone wants to go and aid, you could give him advantage on investigation, unless you have other plans.
I'm pretty
Really?
perceptive. I can like jump off.
So yeah, if the two of you then want to go, you could have advantage on your investigation, Kev.
I'm fixing the
Roll.
So
Roll again.
Yeah.
Roll again. Take the higher if it's higher than 11. It is not.
You're supposed to roll higher. That's like what the whole thing is.
The two of you spend about 15-20 minutes checking the North Shore and just kind of looking to see if there's any sign further down. You make your way across to the kind of Spear Inlet, and it's a little boggy in areas, and unfortunately not exactly giving you any kind of signs to go off of here. And then kind of heading a little to the south side, the two of you find no obvious signage, nothing to say what goes which way. The best I can tell you is that both the north and the south they do continue like in a westward direction, but there's just a slight north and southern kind of turn. But yeah, that's not a high enough roll to give anything more, unfortunately.
Maybe we should just go back to the ship, the boat.
That would be the safe route.
Just work our way back.
Easy enough. A couple minutes pass and you're able to get back up. At this point, I'd say the flatboat has been kind of not scuttled and kind of shoved off to the side, but like almost been anchored against some of the rock and is kind of being held slightly in place. The river flow here is certainly slower, so it's not like holding against a huge tide. But Cal is kind of like holding the ship at bay. There's not a proper anchor, so like he is kind of like physically just like holding it in place. Pardon me. But he just kind of looks to you all as you came back and just, any insight? Should we go left or right?
Not particularly. I think we might have to leave it to chance, leave it to group decision.
All right. I'm fine either way, honestly.
I like the right path. Feels right.
Andy, go ahead and throw me history or survival, your choice.
I'm gonna ask if I've ever been here. Dirty 20.
Great. So, this terrain is further north and further west than you've ever traveled. Like, you've not come this far into Candorne. And realistically, where you are now is basically this river, the Hollow River, borders Candorne and then Baern to the north. It almost acts as the border. On the north shore is basically Baern, and the south shore is basically Candorne. To the west, the gray of the sky you're seeing here that is southern is the Ashen Waste. It is the closest point you've been to the Ashen Waste in your adventuring experience. There's still a significant distance between here and there, but it is... this would be the northwestern border before it would connect to Ashen Waste. There's a significant terrain between here and there, but it does pull, and that on that south side would be to that direction. You would also know the Ashen Waste, and most of you would be aware of the Ashen Waste as a place of perpetual darkness that was cursed by some historical event some 200 plus years ago. Beyond that, the river reaches the coast, as a harbor would necessitate, will take you to the southern edge of the Frostfell. With a 20, though, You get to kind of, over the time that you've been traveling, you've been like kind of recollecting stories and kind of almost your mental star chart map of like travel. The river will let out into this kind of gulf of glacial islands in the southern tip of the Frostfell. Directly south of where Darkvale should be, where this kind of gulf would sit, is a Candorian company fort known as the Grey Keep. It stands as vigil over the eastern edge of the Ashen Wastes and protects Candorne from the monstrosities within there. As for the river itself, the threats are equal to either side. This is wild terrain, not uncharted, but not often traveled. To the north, Baern villages would be widespread, and it's possible that there you could, if you go north, you could venture into Baern village territory, as it is a river. It would not be uncommon to see villages built along the river. So it's likely you would encounter Baern villages or encampments along the north side, whereas to the south, you're less likely to encounter other civilization. It's the best you could tell.
Does the Arcanoclast have jurisdiction in Baern?
Yes and no. Arcanoclast has jurisdiction wherever they damn well please.
Yeah.
And Baern has no kings. Baern is a kingless land. So...
Alright, I'll just tell everyone else basically, like, okay, well, from what I can understand, this way, people danger. This way, wilds danger. I don't know about you all, but I usually tend to go on the wilds danger side myself. People are a little bit more unpredictable.
Maddie and I are used to wild danger. Usually we're the wild.
Handle that.
Yeah.
Cal kind of says, well, we can handle danger if it comes to it. I suppose wild danger is a little easier to handle than it is people danger.
Maybe not necessarily easy to handle. Easier to keep quiet, maybe?
That's what I mean.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Works for me. Hang on. He starts to push off again as you all begin to sail the southern path. Taking the southern channel is a slightly swifter route, in fact. Though it is a slightly tighter squeeze for the flatboat, you are constantly pushing off the silt shores on the riverbanks and working your way around some tight bends and over these rocks. Things do eventually begin to open up slightly, and it becomes more of a straightaway, and the river does pick up as you kind of begin to descend through and carrying through this kind of sparse thicket of pine and cedars amidst the otherwise mossy landscape. A couple hours past this split. Who is at the kind of helm? Who's on oar duty currently? Who wants to be there? There would be two people. You don't, out of the four of you, one of them could be Cal, but at least two people have to be on oar duty.
I can be on or looking duty or perceiving duty.
The Korean's not weak. Not particularly strong, but you're not weak. Your athletics has to be decent.
My athletic.
I think everyone else has a +0. Actually, I don't know about Allie.
Don't speak
I don't know
for
about
me.
Allie.
I've got a -1.
Cal can take, he can still be on the oars.
Or Cal. Just working this guy to the bone. He's old as hell.
I'm
That's
+3.
Oh,
Allie's +3? Maybe the bunny twins can be on this duty.
Okay.
the two of you could be on a single oar.
The three of us. Toot sweet.
That is good because Cal does have 2 points of exhaustion.
Oh God, Cal, what are you doing?
No one else is strong.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got that old man strength. He's got to keep pushing through the night.
God.
Okay, so both of you go ahead and make athletic checks for me, and a perception check if you want to add that in, Augustus as well.
8 and 1, 9.
It wasn't you rolling, but I like that roll. I got 17 for perception. And you wanted athletics as well, right?
Yes, please.
Fuck me. 2. Roll a 3 minus 1.
Okay, so what were the 2 athletics checks? Sorry, repeat.
I got a 2, and then I didn't know if Nettie was doing athletics.
I did. I got 8.
Okay, so those
Damn.
are 2 nice solid fails.
We suck. When your sibling tries to tell you how to do something, like, no, like, pull it over here. You're doing it wrong.
Backfires on us.
So a couple of things happen as you guys are headed down a section here. The 2 of you guys are kind of on this oar duty. You're steering away, and not even entirely your fault. The area here is kind of starting to bottom out in certain areas, and the hull is scraping over some jagged rock and elements. You're trying your best, but really there's not a whole lot of maneuverability. It's pretty tight. The unfortunate part is the hull does sustain another 12 points of damage as you are just constantly like raking it against various points, and a new leak opens.
You're welcome.
On the side of the boat, to which Andy dutifully begins to descend to take care of. And before that even gets underway, you're just thinking, well, that's what I'm doing for the rest of my afternoon. Augustus, you catch just a little too late that one of these outcroppings of rock was less rock and more spiked, and like you've hit it. It's part of what's caused this leak, this jam, and you heard it kind of puncture, and kind of catching off to the side. The ship is kind of scraping and being pulled and slowed as you kind of look down and look ahead just to see if there's anything obfuscating your path. There is a loose dam or barricade of debris, barrels, broken crates, down logs, rocks, that is covering the entire section of this tight section of river ahead. It is perfectly positioned before the mouth of a section of rock, like a cave mouth, and would be the perfect spot for an ambush.
Is there any way to slow this boat down?
You're being slightly slowed down by this kind of impaired slope, and both of you on oar duty can attempt to try and like jam the oars to like slow your progression, but based on your failed athletics earlier, you will both have disadvantage.
Feels fair. Feels right.
So go ahead if you call this out.
Yeah, I think it will. There's something up ahead. Doesn't look good.
I cast mage armor.
Okay,
that was my first one. So I got 5 for athletics with disadvantage.
Okay,
should be a success, I think. I'm on my sweet sister.
22 for athletics.
Is that with disadvantage?
Nope. 1 second. 11.
That's all right. Above 10. It's our first above 10 for you and me. That's good.
With a double failure, you both jam the oars in to slow your roll, and both oars snap as you try to pin them into rock, and the hull breaks them in two. Both oars snap in half. You've lost kind of control of being able to position the boat, and unfortunately, the boat is sliding directly en route to this barricade of barrels, crates, rocks, and what you, Augustus, are quickly gathering spiked like protrusions, like barricades made of spiked spears and chain. As you are like about to like kind of crash into this area. From the cave mouth, you hear a guttural. And that's where we'll pick up next time.
No. No.
Could just
I
be
want to show the
Warthog.
map. I want to show
Okay,
the map
Warthog.
because it's cool.
You made a really cool map.
Teaser.
I made a
It's
cool
so bright
map.
though. Oh wow, that
Shit.
does look amazing.
It looks super
Damn,
cute.
wow.
Wow.
There's
Oh,
the boat,
damn.
and there's the little barricade. And this is the cave.